I hear you've got a new office in is it Ellesmere?
Yeah,
Can you
not
tell?
port.
No, Ellesmere, as in near Oswald Street.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Can you tell me more about the business and where you're doing your new workshops as well? Yeah, if you can tell
Yeah.
me more about the workshops, that'll be really interesting.
Okay, so my mission so when I worked for big corporate organizations like PricewaterhouseCoopers and Warner Media, I was working with C-suite executives and often found that, as great as that is, and I still do a lot of that work, I really want to bring some of that experience that I've had to people who maybe don't have that opportunity. So leadership to me is more than just a job title or a parking space or a good office. It's that leadership little L, which I think we all need to be exhibiting, we all need to have. And there are lots of people in the world who aren't in big corporations, who are leaders, but don't see themselves as leaders or don't feel that they have that capability within them. But I have absolute confidence they do. So I wanted to make leadership accessible to all. I wanted everyone to feel and know that they can achieve leadership and that they can have these leadership skills. So part of my offering is now these workshops which are affordable, they're half a day, so it's not a huge chunk of your time. They're in person or IRL, as my kids would say, which we haven't been able to do for a long time. And I love that because then I can really work with people and look at their sort of body language and their intention, as well as some things that I can't see virtually, so we can really get to grips with it. So these workshops, the first one, I hope of many. So I'm hoping to build a catalogue of leadership skills and the leadership skills that are needed now. So we know that there have been traditional leadership courses in the past that have focused on how to manage effectively, how to manage your time and your productivity. But this is those skills that are really, people call them soft skills, but they couldn't be more hard. And I think that with hybrid working now and the way that the world is changing, and organizations need to be more aware of social movements and the expectations of leaders now is totally different. You're expected to have empathy, you're expected to understand and to have very sort of difficult conversations with people. You're expected to lead from a distance. So that means trusting people and trusting that they have that capability and communicating effectively and resolving conflict. So I think all of those skills that are necessary. The first one I chose was making an impact because it felt like the first in, that kind of journey. You first meet somebody. What does that look and feel like? And so many of my clients say that they leave an important conversation or important conversation twice, important meeting or presentation, and they say, I wasn't myself, or I didn't quite nail it, or I wasn't quite the best version of myself. And so I work with them to find the best version of yourself. Why were you nervous? What is nerves? How does that appear in you? What's the reason for that, and how do we overcome it? So making an impact is really for anybody in the professional world or even personal world. To be honest with you, I think it could work either. As I've said, I feel like this is all whole person development. Understanding who you are, how you want to come across, because often we don't think about the intention, like who are we and what do we want to be known for, or how do we want to be recognized, and then really digging deep into, well, what gets in the way of that. So if you wanted to appear confident in that moment, why didn't you? Something blocked you. So let's find out what that is and let's make sure that it doesn't happen again. So making an impact is looking at that initial impact, normally in judgmental evaluation situations like interviews or meetings or presentations, giving feedback, all those different types of situations where you feel like you want to come across a certain way, but it's really difficult. Something's kind of holding you back.
Can you describe other services that you offer with Thursday's Child?
Yeah. So aside from the workshops, obviously executive coaching, and coaching is the sort of primary offering, and that can take the form of one-to-one coaching over a short period of time or a long period of time. I always say that if you know exactly what you want to work on, it will take a shorter amount of time. But if you're not sure and you just want general sort of week to week or month to month support, then that can be a longer engagement. It just really depends on what the goal you want to achieve, or if you're aware of the goal you want to achieve. I also do team coaching, so leadership teams or teams that maybe feel that they could work more effectively together. Often leadership teams have come together, they have a great idea, they have a great product, but they often, the working together bit can be a bit sticky sometimes, and so I can help them communicate more effectively and resolve conflicts and work more effectively. And then also I offer leadership consultancy. So I have found recently, I've had a lot of conversations with businesses that have grown over the pandemic, surprisingly. They've found themselves growing really quickly, and they've hired lots of people, and they've put them made them responsible for teams, for example. There's a whole management layer that's evolved, but they haven't really thought about what they expect from those managers. Like, what do they want them to do, and how do they want them to behave? And this sets the tone for all sorts of things. It sets the tone for their culture, it sets the tone for their performance, their productivity, their effectiveness. And so there's a lot there in the leadership capability that can really transform a business and take it from sort of being good to great. Stealing a bit of Jim Collins there.
What makes you different, Lyann, from other coaches that we see everywhere on social media, etc.?
Yeah. I think I always find this difficult to answer because I feel like it's not for me to answer. I feel like my clients would be better at sort of describing why they work with me or why they chose me. What they tell me is that I strike a really good balance of support and challenge. So I am empathetic and supportive, so I'm totally on your side. There's no judgment. And coaching really, I'll come to sort of the difference between what coaching actually is, because I think there's some misconceptions about that. But at the same time, because I've built that trusting relationship, I can also call out the BS when it needed. So hang on a second, you said that, but you actually just said this. So what's going on here? What's happening? So I challenge as well, quite as effectively as I support. And I think that right combination, that right balance isn't always common in coaches. And my clients tell me I've got that.
Can you explain to me what coaching is in terms I think that anybody can understand?
Yeah. Absolutely. I feel like coaching does get sort of a little bit ambiguous, and that's because there are lots of coaches out there and lots of people calling themselves coaches when in fact they're offering something different, not invaluable, but just something different. So coaching is really based on the premise that the person that you are working with has the answers and that they are a whole and complete person. Okay? And that's essentially it. So coaching is not about giving someone the answer or giving them advice or therapy. So therapy is about healing, whereas coaching is about working towards a goal. Now, we do use lots of similar tools, so there's a bit of a grey area and it's ambiguous sometimes, but sometimes healing happens through the process of achieving the goal. But what coaching does is explore you as a person. So your experiences, your current situation, and your future goals with the intention of achieving your goals, either for you personally or for your organization or for your business. So my job isn't to tell you what to do, it's to actually pull that from you, and I say pull rather than push, because I'm never going to point the fingers or judge. It's literally, I know it's in there, we just have to bring it out and show it as show the real sort of version of you, or the answers that are sort of within you. And I do that through lots of different techniques and tools that I've been trained to do. So I would say, if you are looking for a coach, and I do this all the time, ensure they're accredited, ensure that they're qualified. There are a lot of people on the market that are selling coaching services that aren't necessarily coaching. So if you're looking for true coaching, which is, I know I've got the answer, I'm just stuck, then that's really what you're looking for.
So how can people get in touch with you? Is it email, telephone, can you go through your information for me?
Lots of ways. You can email me on leanne.farrelly@thursdayschildcoaching.co.uk. You can check out my website, which is www.thursdayschildcoaching and .co.uk, and on there's all sorts of different bits and pieces of information. You can book onto the workshop if you want to, or you can contact me for a free 30-minute consultation if you're interested in coaching. And you can also phone me 07907 648 960.